Johnny Depp is not merely an actor. He's a living legend who has consistently breathed eccentricity and embraced his individuality with such profound passion that every role transforms into a masterpiece. He doesn't just play characters, he lives them, dissolving into their essence until even he finds it unsettling to watch himself on screen, recognizing how completely he has merged with another persona. There's a lot of criticism against him now. I don't understand why there's so much negativity in the news. Could it be that beneath this enigmatic mask of a nonconformist lies an extraordinarily sensitive soul, one that has wandered for years in the shadows of loneliness? His life has been a tumultuous romance with destiny, where each chapter overflows not only with triumphs but also with deep internal conflicts and battles that most can only imagine. How could a man who became a symbol of freedom for millions be so bound by his own personal demons, constantly fighting an unseen war within himself? And were his complex relationships merely reflections of that swirling, chaotic world that existed deep within him, a world he struggled to contain? Prepare to plunge into a whirlwind of stories that will unveil the truth about one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures, whose life has proven to be far more dramatic and intricate than any film he's ever starred in, a true saga of human experience. In this story, we will discuss something that happened this year but no one paid attention. It was not a pleasant event for Johnny Depp, one might say a shocking decision. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and like this video so you don't miss out on more fascinating stories. Johnny Depp, a name synonymous with originality and an unwavering refusal to conform. From the very outset of his career, he resolutely turned down the archetypal, heartthrob hero roles that could have brought him effortless, widespread fame and commercial success. For him, financial gain and mainstream appeal were never the primary criteria for selecting a project. His compass always pointed towards the artistic integrity of the work. He valued art for art's sake, constantly seeking depth, genuine challenge, and profound meaning rather than mere popularity. Every script presented an invitation into a new reality, an invaluable opportunity to explore the human psyche from all its multifaceted angles, peeling back layers to reveal the hidden facets of human nature, even those that might evoke discomfort or initial aversion in others. His ambition was not just to entertain, but to compel the audience to think, to feel deeply, to empathize, and perhaps even to recognize a part of themselves, a part they might have kept hidden within his complex characters. Instead, he consistently chose roles that were inherently challenging, often dark, always profound, driven solely by the pursuit of artistic value, which transcended any monetary reward or prestigious award, as his ultimate goal was always internal self-realization through his craft. He was a trailblazer in the creation of anti-heroes, whose inherent vulnerability, moral ambiguity, and raw authenticity held a far greater allure than the often impeccable perfection of classic positive protagonists, offering a fresh, more relatable dimension to storytelling. Depp never sought the approval of the masses. His quest was for truth within each of his creations, dedicating himself to every role until his last breath, sometimes pushing himself to the very brink of physical and emotional exhaustion in the process. Consider the unforgettable Edward Scissorhands, a delicate, innocent creature yearning for love, yet condemned to live in isolation because of his otherness, meticulously crafted from machine parts and possessing scissors instead of hands. This poignant image transformed him into a powerful metaphor for anyone who feels alienated by society, misunderstood, and profoundly alone in a world that seems unwilling or unable to embrace their unique essence. This iconic character became his indelible calling card, embodying the quintessence of Depp himself, gentle and sensitive, yet capable of inflicting pain, purely by accident, simply by virtue of his nature, his inherent difference. This film, at its heart, mirrored Depp's own inner world, reflecting his personal sensation of being the other, an experience of alienation from the conventional norms of Hollywood, which he consistently rejected throughout his career, forging his own distinctive path. Or recall Willy Wonka, a confectionery genius, brilliant yet peculiar, haunted by childhood traumas, who found sanctuary and built an empire in the fantastical world of sweets. His intense childhood fear of dentists metamorphosed into an almost pathological obsession with candy, effectively isolating him from the harsh realities of the outside world and molding him into the eccentric genius who resides in his own whimsical, sugar-coated realm, far removed from cruel judgment. This character, with his striking blend of childlike naivety and occasional, unsettling cruelty, perfectly encapsulated the dualistic nature of the actor himself, his remarkable ability to effortlessly combine seemingly contradictory traits, genuine kindness and sharp cynicism, innocent wonder and surprising harshness, which rendered his portrayals so multi-layered and irresistibly captivating. We cannot possibly overlook Captain Jack Sparrow, the swashbuckling pirate adventurer who perpetually balances on the razor's edge between genius and sheer madness, whose distinctive flamboyant gait and utterly unpredictable decisions have achieved undeniable cult status. This character, notably, was meticulously constructed by Depp based on the legendary Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards, a testament to his unconventional approach to roles and his uncanny ability to draw inspiration from the most unexpected sources, transforming them into a cinematic creation so unique and vibrant that no one could have possibly envisioned it before him. Thanks to Depp's groundbreaking portrayal, Jack Sparrow transcended mere cinematic character status to become a full-fledged cultural phenomenon, generating billions of dollars and garnering him global adoration. Yet, the actor himself has admitted he never anticipated such monumental success, especially given the studio's initial extreme caution regarding his radical interpretation, fearing he would ruin the burgeoning franchise with his unconventional quirks. He was even prepared for the possibility of being fired for spoiling the character, steadfastly refusing to compromise his artistic vision. Fortunately for millions of dedicated fans worldwide, this did not happen, and Sparrow unequivocally became Depp's most recognizable signature role, one of the most instantly identifiable and beloved characters in cinema history. Every character he brought to life was a unique, vibrant, and profoundly original personality, a direct embodiment of his own inherent creative nature, which adamantly rejected conventional archetypes and instead yearned for absolute immersion into the very essence of the role, achieving a complete fusion with it, as if it were an extension of his very soul. He never feared being perceived as strange, as the other, and it was precisely this courageous embrace of distinctiveness that endeared him to millions who felt out of place in a world obsessed with conformity. Through his characters, he allowed countless individuals to see themselves reflected on screen, finding solace and understanding in the knowledge that they were not alone in their unique identities. He gave a voice to those who were unheard, and a face to those who were ignored, effectively becoming a powerful mouthpiece for all others, for anyone who deviated from the gray, monotonous mainstream and refused to fit neatly into predefined boxes. He plunged profoundly into each role, meticulously studying every nuance, every mannerism, every gesture, down to the minutest details. The characters' breathing patterns, their specific walk, their unique facial expressions, the timbre of their voice, even their subconscious habits and hidden fears, all to construct a complete, perfectly illusionary living portrait. He could spend countless hours observing real people or poring over archival recordings, diligently absorbing even the slightest, often imperceptible traits that would later become pivotal to his characters, imbuing them with such genuine vitality that they became unforgettable, deeply imprinted upon the hearts of audiences. This method of complete immersion demanded from him not only immense talent but also extraordinary diligence, and a level of self-sacrifice that bordered on obsession, transforming into a sacred ritual he meticulously repeated with every new role. At times, this immersion became so intense that the boundaries between himself and the character would blur, leaving Depp with a tangible sense of unease upon returning to his own persona. It was as if he had to physically detach a part of himself, experiencing a phantom pain from the loss of the role and the jarring return to normal life, which, after the vivid, heightened reality of his characters, often felt bland and uninteresting. He himself has recounted needing significant time after filming to return to himself, to shed the skin of another life, feeling as though he physically exited one body and entered his own, enduring a peculiar actor's hangover, and a period of decompression that could sometimes last for weeks, utterly draining him emotionally and physically. Yet, he invariably endured this for the sake of art, viewing it as a necessary sacrifice for authenticity. This was not merely acting. It was a profound transformation at the soul level, a genuine metamorphosis that demanded complete emotional and mental surrender, often at the expense of his own psychological comfort and stability, as he entirely dissolved into his heroes, giving them every last fiber of his being. This depth, this unwavering dedication to his craft, was an inseparable part of his eccentricity. He simply could not work superficially. For him, every project represented a personal challenge, which he embraced with utmost seriousness, irrespective of commercial considerations or critical opinions. He didn't just act, he meticulously built entire worlds within himself, only to then unleash them onto the screen, offering audiences not just a film, but a holistic emotional experience that left a profound imprint on their memory and compelled them to reflect on their own lives, on the very nature of human emotion. He was a true artist, painting life onto celluloid, using his own body and soul as the brush, never sparing himself in his relentless pursuit of perfection. However, behind this dazzling brilliance, behind this theatrical persona, there resided a man who for years wrestled with his deeply entrenched internal demons. He was a truly sensitive soul who suffered from profound loneliness and a pervasive sense of being misunderstood, constantly weighed down by the relentless pressures of society and his own impossibly high, often unrealistic expectations for himself, far beyond what any ordinary person striving for peace could handle. Depp has openly confessed that the first 35 years of his life were a period of intense bewilderment, during which he felt as though he was perpetually wandering in a labyrinth without an exit, without a compass to guide him, and with no light glimmering at the end of the tunnel. He experienced a profound emptiness within, despite his monumental external success and the adulation of millions. He felt utterly lost, desperately searching for his place in the world, striving to discover meaning in his own existence. This pervasive loneliness frequently drove him towards destructive habits, which, for a time, served as his only means of escape from a harsh reality, a temporary, yet exceedingly perilous and life-threatening, refuge. He indulged in alcohol to such an alarming extent that on one harrowing occasion, he awoke in a bathtub, with no recollection of how he had gotten there, fully realizing that his life was spiraling out of control. He had lost command over himself and his future, teetering on the precipice of self-destruction, a terrifying prospect that shook him to his very core. This episode became one of the darkest chapters of his life, a critical turning point that forced him to confront the urgent need for profound change. Otherwise, his destiny might have mirrored the tragic fates of countless other stars who succumbed to their addictions, burning out in the consuming flames of fame and solitude, leaving behind only sorrowful memories. Alcohol and smoking became his fleeting companions on this arduous journey, and as he himself candidly admitted, he was digging his own grave, painfully aware of the ruinous nature of his actions and the escalating danger that loomed with every sip, every puff, feeling life slowly slipping from his grasp. This was an incredibly challenging period, laden with pain and intense self-reflection, as he meticulously tried to understand himself and his place in a chaotic world. He was forced to acknowledge his mistakes and relentlessly sought a path towards healing, towards the inner peace and harmony that his turbulent soul so desperately craved, yearning to find a glimmer of light amidst the darkness. His sensitivity was not merely the fount of his extraordinary acting talent but also his profound vulnerability. He experienced emotions with far greater intensity than most people, which rendered him exceptionally susceptible to criticism and perceived injustice, elements that frequently surrounded him, especially in the relentless public sphere where everyone felt entitled to judge and engage in merciless public discourse. He perceived the world with a sharper, more visceral acuity than others, and this heightened awareness frequently led to agonizing internal conflicts that tore him apart from within, causing immense pain and disillusionment. He often attempted to conceal these struggles behind a facade of indifference or exaggerated eccentricity, ironically only deepening his sense of alienation from the surrounding world. Can one achieve such immense success, be so universally adored, and yet feel such a profound, crushing loneliness? This is a question without a simple answer, but it compels us to reflect on the notion that true happiness is not always measured by external achievements. More often, it lies hidden in the elusive realms of inner peace and harmony, which are incredibly difficult to attain, particularly under the constant glare of cameras and the relentless pressure of a public eagerly awaiting every misstep. His personal life, too, was rife with challenges, a tumultuous saga brimming with passionate intensity that, regrettably, often culminated in agonizing breakups, leaving deep, enduring scars on his soul and reputation, which proved incredibly difficult to mend. His complex character coupled with his fiery temperament frequently prevented his romantic relationships from achieving lasting stability. He could be extraordinarily intense and demand a great deal from his partners, a level of constant emotional fervor and unpredictability that not everyone was prepared or able to withstand, following him like a shadow. He yearned for profound connection, for passionate intensity, but it seemed he consistently found only fleeting, intense romances that inevitably ended in painful ruptures, leaving behind a bitter aftertaste of disillusionment and a pervasive sense of failure. This, in turn, only deepened his loneliness and intensified his internal suffering, which he increasingly found impossible to conceal. Several of his former partners, such as Winona Ryder and Kate Moss, have spoken about his jealousy and controlling behavior, traits that may have been manifestations of his own deeply rooted insecurities and a profound fear of abandonment or loss. This intense attachment, unfortunately, often morphed into an unhealthy obsession that suffocated the relationships and ultimately compelled his partners to flee from him. During one particularly volatile conflict with his ex-wife, Amber Heard, Depp, according to court testimonies, severely injured his hand by throwing a phone against a wall. This incident led to the suspension of filming for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and necessitated multiple surgeries and costly medical treatments, jeopardizing his entire career and resulting in millions of dollars in financial losses. This incident, which occurred in Australia, vividly illustrates the depth of his emotional struggles and their devastating impact on his professional trajectory, demonstrating how personal dramas can utterly dismantle a successful career and financial standing, reducing triumph to ashes and leaving him with nothing. These accounts paint a picture of a man who, despite his towering public persona, grappled with the same emotional hardships as ordinary individuals. Stardom, far from making one perfect, only amplifies the pressure and thrusts every action into the public eye, transforming every conflict into a public spectacle, discussed down to the smallest detail and judged by millions. Are these character traits merely the price of genius, or are they simply an inherent part of his unique personality, making him who he is, with all his flaws and contradictions, which paradoxically both attract and repel, sustaining constant public interest? What are your thoughts on this? Please share your insights in the comments. His marriages and romantic relationships, such as his long-term partnership with Vanessa Paradis, the mother of his children, who provided him with a relative sense of calm and stability amidst his tumultuous life, and of course, his highly publicized marriage to Amber Heard, were perpetually under the intense scrutiny of the media. Each breakup was dissected with such passionate fervor, as if it were a dramatic plot twist from one of his films, transforming into a true public spectacle where everyone became a spectator and a judge, freely expressing opinions without possessing the full picture. The culmination of this relentless public drama was the scandalous court trial, which dragged on for many weeks and was broadcast live across the globe. During these proceedings, highly private and intimate details of his life were brutally exposed, including audio recordings of arguments, disturbing text messages, and shocking accusations of domestic abuse. These revelations forced the world to view Depp through an entirely new lens, polarizing opinions and dividing society into fiercely opposing camps of supporters and detractors, who aggressively defended their respective stances. This legal spectacle became an unprecedented trial for his reputation and career, leaving a deep, indelible mark on his public image. It arguably, and perhaps permanently, altered his perception in Hollywood, as his name became inextricably linked with scandals and lawsuits, overshadowing his artistic achievements. However, despite these immense difficulties, Depp consistently found the strength to move forward, drawing profound inspiration from his art. For him, art was both a sanctuary and a source of solace, the only place where he could truly be himself, genuinely free from external judgments, and the crushing weight of public expectations that constantly bore down on him. He continued to experiment with roles, deliberately choosing projects that allowed him to explore new facets of his talent, even if it meant taking on risky and unconventional roles that might be misunderstood by a wider audience but were deeply important to him personally, crucial for his creative growth and self-expression. He never shied away from risk, nor did he fear being misunderstood, for his ultimate goal was artistic expression, not universal approval. He sought truth in art, even if that truth was painful, even if it cost him his reputation and millions of dollars. Even when he faced relentless criticism or overwhelming personal difficulties, such as during the grueling court process with Amber Heard, he remained steadfastly true to himself, adhering to his inner voice, despite the immense pressure and the public vilification that would have broken anyone else. But not him, for his spirit had been tempered and strengthened in the fires of battle. He persevered, defending his truth, and ultimately, he achieved victory, albeit with a bitter taste, for the price of that triumph was extraordinarily high: years of lost time, severely compromised health, and a tarnished reputation that took years, step by arduous step, to rebuild. This unwavering commitment was his life's creed. To remain authentic, even if it meant swimming against the current, to defend his truth to the very end, regardless of the consequences, because for him, honesty was paramount, more valuable than any role or any amount of money he could possibly earn. There are rumors that Johnny Depp started an affair with a young model this year and is hiding it. This news was strange for Johnny, but he did not deny it. Whether it is true or not, time will tell. This inherent originality transformed him into more than just an actor. He became a bona fide cultural icon, inspiring millions across the globe by demonstrating that authenticity is always cherished, and that personal drama can paradoxically become a profound source of strength and inspiration for others undergoing similar struggles as they navigate their own paths in life. His influence extends far beyond the realm of cinema, as he has become a powerful symbol of individuality and the freedom of self-expression, refusing to adhere to any rules or societal expectations, boldly challenging all stereotypes and conventional norms that seek to limit the creative spirit. He became a living testament to the idea that being different is not a flaw but a superpower, an extraordinary ability that allows you to stand out from the crowd and create something truly unique, something that will endure in history and inspire new generations of artists who will follow in his footsteps. His films are not merely entertainment. They are an implicit invitation to contemplate the very nature of humanity, to ponder what makes each of us unique, to delve into our complexities and contradictions, and to explore both the light and dark sides that exist within each of us, an intrinsic part of our very essence that we must learn to embrace. He shows us that behind every perceived eccentricity lies a deeply personal story, its own pain, its own joy, its own unique journey, a narrative worth telling because it has the power to resonate with others and offer them hope for a brighter future, inspiring them to pursue their own achievements. And his own life stands as a vivid testament to the fact that the path to self-discovery can be arduous and winding, fraught with both falls and soaring triumphs, but it is always worth traversing. For it is only through this journey that one can truly find oneself and one's authentic purpose, defying all obstacles and trials of fate that appear along the way. Do you see parallels between his iconic acting roles and his actual life? Or perhaps, was acting a form of escape for him, a sublimation of his personal experiences, a unique kind of therapy that helped him cope with his internal demons and maintain his sanity in the turbulent world of show business? To what extent, in your opinion, does his personality influence his choice of roles, or do the roles, conversely, influence the shaping of his personality, creating a cyclical interaction and mutual influence where one constantly feeds the other, endlessly transforming and complementing, making him even more uniquely complex? Share your thoughts in the comments. He continues to be an unending wellspring of inspiration, continually astounding us with his profound depth and captivating unpredictability, remaining one of the most intriguing and enigmatic figures in global cinema. His career serves as a powerful example of both triumphant successes and formidable trials that can be overcome through sheer strength of spirit and an unparalleled will to live. His legacy is not only his films but also the profound realization that true freedom lies in accepting oneself precisely as one is, with all flaws and strengths, without fear of judgment or societal pressure. For only then can one truly be free and authentic, regardless of external circumstances, living in true harmony with oneself. The story of Johnny Depp is a narrative of relentless searching, of fierce struggle, of both victories and defeats, and of an boundless dedication to his art. This dedication transforms him into a genuine artist whose contribution to world culture is immeasurable, for he has left an indelible mark on the hearts of millions, inspiring them to embrace self-expression and embark on the quest for their own unique identity. It is a story of how an individual can transmute their internal conflicts into a powerful source of creativity and become a guiding light for those who are seeking their own distinctive path in this vast and complex world, demonstrating that even through immense pain, one can ultimately find light and discover their place under the sun, remaining true to themselves until the very end. Subscribe to the channel to discover even more captivating stories.